The Nigerian government has taken on an interesting and ambitious project to build a Chinese smart city in the country, with the supposed promise of greater efficiency, tighter security, convenience, and improved quality of life for Nigerians. All sounds good, right? But should we be concerned? I'll lay everything out for you and let you be the judge. You see, first of all, designing a smart city would require you to rely heavily on the collection and analysis of vast amounts of data from various sources, like surveillance cameras, sensors, and Internet of Things devices. And with the deep involvement of Chinese companies in the project, there are concerns about data ownership, privacy, access, and the risk of unauthorized usage. China is also notorious for its extensive state surveillance infrastructure, and we're not really sure the extent to which such practices might be replicated here in Nigeria, especially as we are already dealing with a questionable score on the protection of human rights. The use of facial recognition technology and other invasive surveillance measures could infringe upon the privacy rights of Nigerians and subject them to constant monitoring without adequate safeguards. Another question the Chinese Smart City project raises in Nigeria is the potential vulnerability of the collected data to security breaches. The large amounts of sensitive information generated by smart cities, including personal and location data, can easily become a target for cyber criminals and state-sponsored hacking. When you consider the influence and control that Chinese companies may have over the technological infrastructure, the risk associated with data security becomes more pronounced. And there are serious doubts that the Nigerian government has the cyber defense capabilities to safeguard our information. One other key aspect of this project, which is quite worrisome, is its potential for increased government control and surveillance. In fact, this might be the most critical aspect of it. The Smart City project means that the government will gain unprecedented insight into the lives of Nigerian citizens, and there's a risk that they could use this information to suppress dissent, stifle freedom of expression, and exert undue influence on the population. A distant example is the Ugandan government, which used similar facial recognition systems to identify and arrest 836 suspected supporters of the opposition leader in 2020. Locally, there is abundant evidence that this technology is being used to intimidate and silence political critics. Basically, the conversations and messages on your mobile devices are no longer confidential. Law enforcement agents can use them to track, intimidate, and arrest journalists who write unfavorable things about the government. And more specifically, we can remember the crackdown on protesters and websites during the EndSARS protests. Interestingly, so far, there has been no indication elsewhere in Africa that the mass deployment of facial recognition technology results in reasonable protection of citizens from crime. For example, in Nairobi, where the Kenyan government deployed surveillance technologies, there has in fact been a steady rise in criminal activity for more than a decade. Same applies to Nigeria, where there hasn't been any noticeable improvement in alleviation of crime with the adoption of this technology. But instead, we're seeing a gradual depletion of our freedom of expression as crime continues to increase. Of course, the Nigerian government will not come out to tell you, yes, we are monitoring your every step. Instead, they're going to tell you that they just want to prevent and combat threats to public safety. They're going to say that they want to fight terrorism financing, money laundering, cyber fraud, cyberbullying, hate speech, terrorism networking, and other threats to national security. But will you really trust a party that banned Twitter in the country for nearly 8 months to protect your digital freedom? That is left for you to answer.